weather out there. We're glad to be together and get nice and warm singing that song. Oh my gosh. When do you breathe? I'm not sure. Still figuring it out. If you've been to campus ministry before, you know we love to tell stories of God's faithfulness. That's actually one of our expressions of worship. One is by singing, one is by declaring the word, and one is by telling our testimonies, telling our stories. So tonight, I'd like to welcome Saige to come tell her story. Welcome her.
Okay. So my name is Saige Jeltema. I'm a senior here at Grand Valley studying special education. So I grew up in a Christian household with my mom, dad, and 3 younger sisters. I grew up always going to church, youth group, Sunday school, and God is always a part of my life, and I had always known him and loved him. I went through some ups and downs, but never had my faith really tested until I got to college. When I was in my first semester here at Grand Valley, my dad was convicted of a crime that he did not commit and sentenced to 25 years in prison. It was so devastating for my family, and it left my mom to take care of me and my 3 younger sisters alone and try to provide for us. We had to get used to a new normal of not having my dad around and instead having 2-hour visits, 15-minute phone calls, and emails and letters to communicate. When this happened, I was so angry at God and couldn't believe that this was my life and how this could be his plan for me and my family. I kept thinking about the future and how my dad wouldn't be there for all the big moments in my life, like graduating college, walking me down the aisle, meeting my future kids, etc. I became an extremely angry and hateful person, and I started to resent God for putting my family and I through this. I became obsessed with the things of this world and ignored God's promises and tried to do life on my own. I started to seek validation from guys and only felt like I was valued and special if I got attention from a man. I was so empty and lost and angry that this was my life. This was not how my life was supposed to go, and I couldn't imagine how this could be God's plan and how anything good could ever come from this, but I was so wrong. Amidst my suffering, God met me where I was at and showed me that I was worth so much more than what the world had to say about me and that I am valued and loved. He showed me that he has a purpose for my life and that my situation does not have to define me. I have also seen him provide for my dad and use him in a way I could not have ever imagined. While being in prison, my dad has been able to minister to the other prisoners. He started preaching at their church services, praying for and with the other inmates, and sharing the gospel. But before this, I had never even heard my dad pray out loud, and he didn't even own his own Bible. Going through this made my family closer than ever because we really had to come together and rely on each other and God to get us through this. Even though what we have gone through has been extremely hard, my family and I always go back to the fact that God has a plan for us. We have seen his goodness and favor poured out on us, especially how he has protected my dad from any harm while being in prison, and how he has given him the courage to stand out and be a light to others in such a dark place. When he was in a different facility, the guards would call my dad's area the God Pod because they were always praying and reading their Bibles together. Life is never going to go how you imagine it, but God's plan for our lives is so much greater than we could ever imagine, even if it's hard to see it in the moment. God would never bring you through more than you can handle, and remembering he is there every step of the way and will always provide and get us through has always been my family's lifeline through this hard time. He will make a way and meet you exactly where you are, no matter the circumstances. His plan is good, and he is always faithful. As much as I want my dad home, I know that God needs him where he's at to reach more guys for him and keep spreading the good news in an unlikely place and situation. And I know that God will make a way to heal what has been hurt and restore what was lost. Even though I cannot imagine how he will do that, I know that my God is greater and will do greater things than I can imagine, and I cannot wait to see where he takes us. And this is why I worship.